These gays, they're trying to murder me.
What do I think of her?
Yes?
I don't think of her.
Read about that in the New York fucking Post.
Hello.
Hi.
Wow. We're gonna have a real day today. I have to just warn you right now.
This is kind of the peak.
No,
the beginning of the peak?
So if last week's episode, hello everyone, welcome to Eating for Free, the podcast recording live from the absolute edge of the internet. I am local Joe Jonas foe, Joan Summers.
And I'm local bottle pop technician Matthew Lawson, which will come relevant later.
Yeah. Resident baby expert. Resident baby candy expert.
Exactly.
So if last week's episode on the Jonas Brothers, welcome everyone back to another part in the Jonas Brothers Chastity Crusade. This is episode 3. If you're just diving in, we really suggest you go back to part 1. But I digress. In the last episode, that was like deep lore, right? Like that episode was the book that you find in the back of a cave in a backpack that was behind a false wall in Baldur's Gate 3.
About
where you have
ye
to,
old tales of Wyckoff, New Jersey.
Yeah, you like pull it, you pull a lever and a door opens somewhere, and then you go through the door and there's like a hallway, and then there's like little things moving around.
Ye
and
Joseph
you have to, like,
brethren.
Yeah, that
of
episode
ye
was
old
like,
Wyckoff.
for those of you who've actually played the game, that episode was the Blood of Lathander, right? Like we had to put all the different swords on the pedestals and then get the crest so that the traps didn't activate and bring the monastery down around us. Like that was what last episode was. Like we were doing forbidden tombs in the library of the universe. This episode is a re-examination of the more well-known Jonas Brothers lore, the origin story of how they got on the Disney Channel, how they signed to Hollywood Records, and really like where the actual concept as we know it of the Jonas Brothers really began, right?
That's true, because originally it was just kind of each of them doing their own gigs.
Yeah, and it was going to just be Nick. And then, of course, Columbia saw them and was like, oh, you have brothers who we can also market, and you can be the Jonas Brothers.
Are you telling
right?
me a boy band is possible?
Yeah. Are you telling
Dollar
us there's
signs
a
rolling on
punk
their
rock?
eyes.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate. Sorry, why Baldur's I'm still in Baldur's Gate. Are you
She's
telling me that there's
in.
a punk rock boy band in play here? Everyone should go, wait, what if Matt and I, for one of our Patreon episodes, played Baldur's Gate 3? We did like a co-op Baldur's Gate adventure.
Oh my god, we should. It'll take like
really
7 hours
should.
for us to do one battle. We'll be fighting the entire time.
Maybe you, but
Because you're going to be like, you're not preparing your spells correctly. And like, why did you run over there? I just feel like you're going to critique the hell out
you
of me.
didn't farm potions of hill giant strength from
Exactly.
Auntie
Here we go
Ethel with the
already.
long rests. No, okay, so guys, I'm so excited about this episode. Last week's episode was exciting for reasons like uncovering court documents from 2001.
IRS paperwork. Or the lack of IRS paperwork, you could say.
Yeah, the lack of IRS paperwork. This episode actually is, to me, more than Ariana Grande, more than any episode we've ever done on this podcast. This episode is the theory of everything. Okay, remember the
that's
deep
why
cut,
it's peak. That's why
the deep cut listeners will remember. Matt and I used to joke that we had the like, what was it? The like pop culture Venn diagram of the like what was
the pop culture theory of everything, or like,
something like that. Those of you who are like real
pop
listeners
culture
are like,
industrial complex.
Yeah.
Sound off in the comments because we
Sound off in
clearly
the
don't
comments
remember.
if you remember what that episode was called, like the great pop culture theory of everything or whatever. This is that episode. This episode explains TikTok.
Wow.
This episode explains JoJo Siwa. This episode explains child stars.
God.
This episode explains the way that everything is now. This episode explains like the music industry. This episode explains Scooter Braun. Everything
Wow.
is here in the nexus of evil I am about to enter you into. Are you ready?
I think just for context, this is all 2007.
This is
A little bit 2008.
This is a single year between February 2007 and February 2008.
See, that's what I'm saying about pop culture peak.
Year.
This
this single year.
And maybe because I just finished season 1 Wheel of Time, but is this when the wheel maybe turns, you could say? Oh.
A wind was blowing.
Oh.
Who's to say? Okay.
Let's go.
Are you
Let's
ready?
go. I'm so ready.
Got it. Let's hit it. So, in the last episode, we left off a little bit into 2008. We kind of talked about this experience that they had where their first album, which we've all already forgotten the name of, and you will
It's about
never
time.
think about again. It's about time. You will never think about again after this series is done. Maybe you will. And for that, I think you should maybe speak to a psychiatrist, get on Concerta, like do something. That album comes out and really nothing happens. Like
It was a certified flop, apparently.
they flopped, and Columbia doesn't really know how to market them. They're sending them out on these like stadium dates with various artists, the Veronicas, a lot of other people as well, Avril Lavigne, I believe, Kelly Clarkson. And then also we will get to Hannah Montana. And they're just kind of in this like limbo space in their career where they've lost their album. I mean, they've lost their record deal after an album that flopped. Their family gets evicted from the parish or the parsonage in
Religious
Wyckoff.
drama
Yeah.
through the church.
And speaking of the church, I need to clarify one thing. In the last episode, I accidentally let slip like an inside joke between me and one of my friends from high school about the church that I went to, like in high school. It was not a church I went to.
Yeah,
it
about
was
what
the
type
church
of
that like
denomination it kind of was.
It sponsored the school that I went to, and I called it a charismatic Baptist church, which is like a double negative. That's like saying like a hot Jonas brother. Like it's not, the two things cancel each other out, you know? Charismatic Baptist church are not real. The name, I won't say the name of the church here because obviously y'all don't need to know my business like that. But the name of it had Baptist in the title. And so we would joke like, oh, it's like a charismatic Baptist church, which is not real. Like it was a church joke. But anyways, when I was telling the story, I was like, oh yeah, it was a charismatic Baptist church. And one of the listeners rightfully pointed out like, wait a minute.
Does that exist?
Baptists aren't like that. And I was like, you're so right. I'm so sorry. I needed to clarify that now. And the word that I was looking for last week when I was trying to explain what the house that they live in is called, it's common for like Christians to know that the pastors like live in these homes, but it is not common, I think, for people like you to know that like churches are paying for these like.
No, I've always known that, but I did not grow up in the church like that though. So absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're just not familiar with it. That word is called a parsonage. So the parsonage that they lived in, they lose it because of this scandal with losing money at the church. And they are like in this just like weird kind of like free fall in their career. And in comes Mr. Mickey fucking Mouse. So,
The Omen.
This is from February 8th, 2007. The PR Newswire comes down with the news that the Jonas Brothers have signed a record deal with Disney's Hollywood Records. Now, Matt, can you just do a quick search on Hollywood Records for me to kind of just get a list of the other artists that had been on Hollywood Records while I go through this PR Newswire?
Sure.
Disney's Hollywood Records today, and I'm getting this directly from the announcement, which you can get in our link. It's archived because this Newswire site is no longer in operation. So it was like a 404 link when I found it. I had to go through the archive. Disney's Hollywood Records today announced the start of a new partnership by signing the Jonas Brothers. The brothers made a huge splash in the music industry with the release of their debut album, It's About Time, in August 2006. Continuing their creativity and well-respected reputation, the brothers, that's what they're referred to as the brothers in capital, are gearing up to record their follow-up album entitled Jonas Brothers, due out in August 2007. The album will continue the current successes of the brothers' first album, which has landed the group the number 11 song on iTunes' top music list and 3 on Radio Disney's top 30 playlist. We are delighted to have the Jonas Brothers at Hollywood. They are talented and focused on making a great album, said Bob Cavallo, chairman of Disney's Buena Vista Music Group. Their energy is infectious and potential limitless. In addition to the partnership with Hollywood Records, the brothers have inked a comprehensive multi-million-dollar deal with Topps Confections. Now, this is the part where I was reading this and I was like, okay, this is everything. This is literally everything about the Jonas Brothers, to me at least, because they were everywhere and then they were nowhere, right? Miley Cyrus, one of their contemporaries, was everywhere and has continued to be everywhere every single year since she started being everywhere, right? Obviously, the ways in which she is everywhere has waxed and waned in terms of whether it's for music or whether it's for paparazzi, but like, no one was checking on the Jonas Brothers like that in the latter half of the latter half of the 2010s. Nobody, right? And we'll get there eventually. But like, they fell off. I think we can all universally agree.
No, that's all I was thinking about.
They fell off.
I was watching their like older music videos that we'll get into a bit like, you know, SOS and Year 3000.
Yeah.
I was just like, and then they have all these videos from like 2018 to 2023. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, Nick Jonas
what happened in
tried
between?
and failed to start his own solo career. Joe Jonas had like a band that really was like kind of like middling, kind of one-hit wonder band. And that's no disrespect to the band who is not Joe Jonas, but I'm just saying like they really fell off. And it's like, isn't that interesting how we have these stars? And we'll get into really the cohort they existed in a little bit later in the episode. But like this next paragraph to me explains everything about their whole deal and the way that they really broke through. So, in their big, splashy PR Newswire announcement that gets blasted out to everyone in the industry, where they're announcing their new album, they're announcing they've signed to a new record label, they get this too. In addition to the partnership with Hollywood Records, the brothers have inked a comprehensive multi-million-dollar deal with Topps Confections, one of the nation's leading kids candy companies. Their partnership is the foundation of a diverse ad campaign and endorsement deal centered around the top-selling Baby Bottle Pop candy. The Jonas Brothers will be the face and name of the brand surrounding the promotion of their new album this year. So it's like the Jonas Brothers present the Jonas Brothers, sponsored by Baby Bottle Pop.
I mean, how about horizontal integration? You got to get what you can, right? Yeah. Disney's a master at this. By the way, Hollywood Records, it's like every single turn Disney pop star that has ever existed, like Ali and AJ, Haley Duff, Miley Cyrus, of course, like Jonas Brothers, Jesse McCartney, oh my god, obviously Demi Lovato later, and then of course just a ton of other major bands as well.
Yeah, they're like current people, like the fact that Hilary Duff is also with them and RCA is like fascinating to me. Or that like the Cheetah Girls are like a current artist, or same with Miley Cyrus, who's active with Columbia.
Yeah.
I think part of the people that are like, how do I say this? Current with Hollywood Records, but also with other people as well, is
Sabrina
they're current
Carpenter.
with Hollywood because it's probably how they retain some sort of licensing, publishing rights, and
they own the rights to like Queen's music, you know.
Yeah, or
like
like they still get residuals from their Disney Channel stuff.
Yeah,
probably.
but if you look at their like current represented artists, it's kind of a bunch of who's. Like I genuinely only know like Queen off this list.
So let's see. Topps Confections. By the way, before we say this, can you insert here the baby bottle pop commercial for us?
Yes. This commercial was put so deep into my brain by it airing 100,000 times a day on Disney Channel.
Before you hear it, I'm going to see if you guys know the rest of this. Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. Okay, play it right here.
Hey everybody, we're the Jonas Brothers. Hope you enjoy tonight's show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. You can look it, shake it until you get it. Thank you, good night. Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. You can look it, shake it until you get it. Man, these shows are getting longer and longer.
My God.
So Topps Confections says, quote, "We are thrilled to partner with the Jonas Brothers and have them be the centerpiece of our baby bottle pop integrated marketing plan, which includes online, mobile, television, print, a sweepstakes, and a baby bottle pop sponsored concert tour.
Wow.
The Jonas Brothers reimagining of the baby bottle pop theme song will have kids rocking out to one of their favorite theme songs sung by one of today's hottest new groups." And then the PR Newswire continues, quote, "More recently, the brothers have recorded a single, Kids of the Future, for Walt Disney Pictures' new animated movie, Meet the Robinsons.
Oh
Quote,
my God.
"We are fortunate to have this incredible opportunity to deliver noteworthy music to our fans," said the Jonas Brothers. "To continue building our careers in this industry with Hollywood Records is one step closer in achieving our dreams." Okay, but it's just so fascinating to continually be reminded through this series in particular that like the nature of child stars is extractive capitalism. Like they
absolutely.
take children and they mine these children for everything that they have to sell candy to fucking teenagers. Like that literally is how these brothers get a fucking major Disney record deal is because of baby bottle fucking pop.
Do you remember that like Zach and Cody like Danables sweepstakes thing? That was like apparently was a fraud like measure.
Yeah.
Apparently it was completely fake, but it was like legitimately the amount of products in kids stores that are like your favorite faces on Disney Channel. It is legitimately
that
like
Danimals thing isn't real?
No, apparently it was like kind of a scam. Like they just picked their own people to do it. I swear to God.
Wait.
I'm gonna Google this now. Let's
and Cody Danimals not real. No, the commercial is definitely
it was
real.
It really happened.
You
I'm
mean
talking
the
about
Danimals
like
cruise, the cruise that they were advertising.
I think it was still
not
real. It was just that they didn't actually pick real people who bought it. Oh my God, here we go. Scam of the century, Zach and Cody's Danables sweepstakes.
Okay, yeah, that part was. I thought you meant that like it was like a deep fake video that they never were in it. I was
it really
like,
happened. It was just that the person who really won was like handpicked by like a PR team.
This person might listen to our podcast. If they do, shout out to you. I have no idea what this person has gotten up to in the years since Tumblr. So if they're like hashtag problematic now, don't come for us. Literally all I remember about them is this single username. But the same week, month, whatever, that they get their record deal, Nick Jonas makes an important announcement of their own. And for this, we must temporarily, minutely salute. Come on, salute with me. The former Tumblr user known as Nick Jonas still has diabetes. Okay, so
it's that and the Bella Hadid still has Lyme disease like parallels.
Yeah. So I'm getting this from diabeteshealth.com, which Nick gives an exclusive interview to announce.
Talk about another type of horizontal integration.
Yeah, to announce his diabetes diagnosis. Quote, "For someone who had no bad medical history ever, to suddenly have the shock of diabetes was a bit overwhelming in and of itself. And then I had to learn all about it, learn all these things in such a short period of time. All of it was crazy. This is me doing this podcast. This is literally me doing this podcast. I had to learn all about it, learn all these things in such a short period of time. All of it was crazy."
Us producing this podcast.
Wait, can we make a note here? Can you just timestamp this? Can we put that on a t-shirt? Thank you. Okay. I also wondered if I can continue making music, but I had the support of my friends and the band to be there with me. My dad was back at home with my 3 other brothers, but my mom stayed at the hospital with me every night. Now, let's go to Tiger Beat magazine in April 27th, 2007. This is more so to just kind of give you guys like a gauge on what the kinds of teen press was like back then. I think we have enough like elder millennials that had some form of an allowance or access to Barnes and Noble or like the grocery store aisles where they sold Tiger Beat.
Yeah.
To remember this. But we have unfortunately been told that there were kids that listened to this podcast that were born after 9/11. So like we really do have to kind of
Love
give you guys
and light to y'all.
a window into this. By the way, someone said that they are going to make a drinking game to every time we say love and light on the podcast. And like, sorry guys, you might have to go to rehab for that.
I'm so sorry.
And I can tell you of a few I know of. Quote, this is Tiger Beat. Wait, can I read this to you like Tiger Beat? I'm going to read this to you like the person. This
Yes,
is how
please.
I imagine the 30-year-old who wrote this sounds. Quote, I don't know about you guys, but I cannot stop thinking about the Jonas Brothers tour. This is going to be the best summer ever. Prom with the Joe Bros. Yes, please. Anyways, if you haven't watched the video, look right underneath this post and you'll see it. But I have some other awesome news for you too. Corbin Blue told us he'll be going on tour with
Was that in the
Drake
original?
Bell this summer.
Oh my God. I guess, yeah.
And then let's all salute this copy. OMG, 2 hotties on one tour. Sigh. ...
I mean, this is a magazine about minors anyway, so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm just looking at old Tiger Beat covers. Like they are so overstimulated.
No.
It's literally like for the ADHD child.
You really wonder why our generation has ADHD. And
Dream
you should just
date-
like look at the kinds of print media we were forced to see.
Dream
Like, have you
date
ever-
with Zach. He's all
you ever-
yours. Sorry.
Have you ever been 11 years old flipping through a Scholastic catalog? Like, I'd have to go on meds too. So, okay. Let's now skip through the summer. They go on tour and they're on tour. Things are happening for them. They're gearing up for the release of their album. In July, we get a Wall Street Journal post that, guys, can I tell you, I was not going to pay $12 for a Wall Street Journal subscription.
Isn't that like $45 now anyway?
Matt, archive.org didn't work.
Wow.
Private didn't work. Putting like a period before the slash did not work.
Damn.
Translating it into a different language didn't work. Nothing worked. Matt, I swear to
Did you have
God,
to pay?
it took me 45 minutes to figure out how to bypass that paywall. And if you look at the
How'd you
link,
do it?
people, you will see how to bypass it. But I am not going to say it here on the permanent record because I refuse to give this up. This was genuinely one of the greatest trials I have ever faced as an archivist and as a podcaster. And
You have
one of-
gotten like court documents. You've gotten like
as one
intermission
of archive.org's primary customers and users I have counted because I highlight them in my personal notes. I have personally archived 200 websites this year alone.
and they were all about Ariana Grande.
I was almost defeated by
You
the
said
Wall Street
archive
Journal,
didn't work,
I-
but you found a way to make it work.
I found a way. I found a way. I found a way. And then I still
Work.
exported my copy to archive.org. So
As you
shout
should.
out. Okay. How Disney is reviving a band still in its teens. Shady ass headline.
I was about
Okay.
to say.
They said these washed up losers and they're still teenagers. This one's kind of long. So Matt,
Mhm.
why don't you read through the end of the paragraph about Radio Disney? You'll
Okay.
get there when you
Okay.
get there.
Okay. Last year, teen pop act known as the Jonas Brothers nearly washed out of the music industry. The group's 2006 debut album on Columbia Records sold poorly and is now out of print. Today, just a handful of the band's songs are available for download on Apple Inc.'s iTunes store. But less than a year after its fallout, the group is a candidate to conquer the lucrative kids' music market. Now signed to Walt Disney Co.'s Hollywood Records, the teenage trio will release a second album next month. Based on early retail orders and fan interest, people in the industry say it's likely to debut in the top 10 of the Billboard 200 album chart. Disney is also grooming the boys. Disney is also grooming the boys, 14-year-old Nick Jonas, 19-year-old Kevin, and 17-year-old Joe as television stars. The shift from near has-been status to frenzied anticipation highlights important shifts in the music industry, one that may not bode well for traditional industry powerhouses like Columbia. Disney has made a cottage industry of cross-pollinating stars between its cable television Disney Channel and its record labels as Radio Disney Network. It has generated millions of album sales for performers like Miley Cyrus on its TV show Hannah Montana, about a high school student who's also a pop singer, and various cast members from the made-for-TV High School Musical. Disney's success in cranking out one hot tween act after another, how Big the Stars labels are struggling more than ever to capitalize when they have potential stars on the board. This comes at a time when the prepubescent children are considered some of the few remaining reliable purchasers of music. Last year, 10 to 14-year-olds spent $875 million on CDs and song downloads, the RIAAC estimates.
Perfect. So this is a lot here, but let's kind of pick at this one at a time. So they signed to Hollywood Records, and Disney immediately is like, we know how to make money off of these kids. We know what we need to do to get these children in the pocketbooks of other children, right?
Yep.
Like, if you think about it, if this was like, I don't know, medieval England or like Italy in a Shakespeare book, like Italy in a Shakespeare book in a Shakespearean play. Disney is like the guild master of the thieves that like trains children to go out on the streets and rob other people. Like,
they're like, okay, kids, for this upcoming like festival we have, like, so you want to know to pickpocket,
and there's just like a bunch of street urchins that they go out to like sing on street corners and rob passerby. Okay, so they, like as this article points out, Disney has, quote, made a cottage industry of cross-pollinating stars. And part of this is because the way that Disney slowly and surely rebuilt itself after the 90s and became a growing monopoly in the 2000s, they owned the distribution, they owned the publishing, they also owned things like the theme parks where you would hear the music, the stores where you could buy the music, the channel you could watch it after school on. They owned the way to like get that into actual movie theaters as well as onto cable TV. Like, they slowly but surely kind of bounced back from the slump they had hit after the 70s and 80s, after just a series of really bad financial decisions and like mismanagement with their parks. You know, they kind of wisen up a little bit, to the rest of our detriment, by the way. I'm not giving Disney credit there as like a positive. And they really start to build like a vertically and horizontally integrated monopoly of absolute evil through which they can say like, plug in Miley Cyrus and churn out Hannah Montana t-shirts, merch, CDs, everything. The kind of thing that we would later make a series of episodes about concerning JoJo Siwa and the statement that she makes famously on the Jimmy Fallon show that, like, you know, you can buy anything that you can buy at Target, you can buy with my face on it.
Yep.
Like that was a practice instituted by specifically Disney and made popular by the way that Disney marketed its stars. We also have things like this sentence. So they say that 10 to 14-year-olds spent $875 million on CDs between 2006 and 2007. Basically, the like largest demo of like reliable music purchasers. So this is another really important thing. Remember in the Ariana Grande series where Scooter Braun is giving that interview, and I was talking about how at one point he said that like when he got into the music industry, he was told over and over again that it was like a failing industry, that like nobody could make money on music anymore, that there were no big stars left. And he was like, well, I have to figure out a way to make this work, right? And in comes Justin Bieber and his real understanding of new media, which is, I think, the reason Disney falls off slightly in the 2010s before the introduction of Marvel is they fundamentally misunderstand the way social media works, and people like Justin, Ariana Grande, and the like can kind of swoop in alongside people like Lady Gaga, who's obviously for an older demo, who kind of are like a little bit more savvy when it comes to social media, because like when you are this big, giant monopoly, like your system is all consuming, but I wouldn't necessarily say that Disney is like a smooth operator, right? Disney's the kind of thing that's like swinging around a giant club and you're bound to hit something, you know?
Right.
Social media and the age of social media, I think, took a bit more finesse that was capitalized on by, I think, people like Scooter Braun. So it's interesting that even as far back as 2007, really kind of proto all of the other things we talked about in our Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande series, we start to see this thing happening in the music industry where music, as opposed to the 90s when we had these like mega pop stars and girl groups and the like, music is not a safe bet for people. The industry is changing, tastes are changing, the way that people listen to it is changing, streaming is slowly emerging. You have things like Napster in play, all of these different things, LimeWire, places that people don't necessarily have to put money in your pocket to hear music, YouTube, iTunes, CDs and CD players become slowly obsolete as the decade wanes. And so I think that Disney really kind of was in this like weird kind of like flaming out era. I think the generation that the Jonas Brothers enter into is what I would maybe say as the last of the truly great Disney Channel stars. Not great in terms of talent, not great in terms of like
zeitgeisty, like top 10 news articles
like
worthy.
They got onto the wave as it was cresting, and it is only downhill from here, right? They're going to ride it for a bit, but like it's never going to get any higher than it is where they are right now.
It kind of reminds me of
they
like
enter Disney.
It reminds me of like Nickelodeon when they talk about like the height of like 90s kids cartoons and how everyone argues it's fallen off. And I think it is kind of a similar thing where the executives and people on the board are a certain age, they're having children, they're kind of in on the pulse of what kids like. And then those kids, these celebrities get older, those people still stay at their jobs because they've been so praised for making these great selections and this great work.
Yeah.
But then you see like in 2010s, the diminishing returns of those people making those decisions for Disney.
Yeah, because like name one Disney Channel star that was like brand new to the scene. That was like brand new to the scene in the late 2010s. Like more
I'm
recently,
sure there are some, but like nothing comes to mind. Nothing with like this. I mean, we talk about this, I think, a bit later, but like High School Musical is one of like the biggest debuting live events in television history.
Yeah, I think the last person
it has like as many views as like the Super Bowl almost gets.
I think the like one of the people that we can really say was like the last Disney Channel star is Zendaya. Like I really think that's probably true.
Yeah,
because her show,
honestly,
I think Casey Undercover, I think came out in what 2015.
God, I don't even know. I never
2015, 2016 is when it really came off. And then of course it was not necessarily as long as something like Hannah Montana. But yeah, I don't think that there was really anyone that at least we know of that is like an all-consuming star. And of course, some young kid's going to be like, or some like Disney pilled freak is going to be like, actually, you don't know about such and such and so and so. And it's like, well, no, because the difference is that the Jonas Brothers, like our 65-year-old grandmothers knew about the Jonas Brothers, okay? It is fundamentally different, okay?
That's true, honestly. Like they really do have a household name impact. And I don't think there's any Disney stars now that really have that household impact. If there are, there's probably just a few and they're not in my household. Okay, people with children, sound off. Let us know. Like
You know who gives?
There's got to be
Disney,
someone that is like, they're all obsessed with now, the kids that I'm sure we just don't know.
Disney Channel?
But isn't from Disney.
Oh, because she is Disney, I think.
That's hard to tell. Like, where the kids align now. Are you a Nickelodeon kid? Are you a Disney, Netflix?
Sabrina Carpenter comes from Disney.
Oh
but
my
it's
God,
like,
she
okay,
does?
let's say Sabrina yeah, she was cast in the Girl Meets World spinoff of Boy Meets World.
But is she a household name?
No. So that's what I'm saying. Like, let's take Sabrina Carpenter, for example.
Yeah.
Like, my grandmother does not know who Sabrina Carpenter
No.
is. My parents
barely
don't
know
know
who
who Sabrina
she
Carpenter
is.
is. But like, my grandmother knew Jonas Brothers songs. Like, my grandmother probably bought that album with the year 3000 on it. Like,
Well, I mean, their impact in the Christian rock community cannot be understood.
no, but not even just that. Like, our teachers at school knew about it. Like, everyone knew the Jonas Brothers. They were like nightly news sensations. Like, their faces were everywhere.
Well, the only other boy group I can think of since is obviously going to be One Direction. And that's
Yeah.
like the only group I can think of that hits the zeitgeist at this level with this type of
Yeah.
celebrity.
And again, they were not people that came from the traditional system. They were
No.
much higher, like on social media and also through the game shows.
We'll talk
So,
about a social
okay,
media impact.
let's keep going. So the Jonas Brothers seem to be moving along rapidly on Disney's assembly line. Shade. Radio Disney says the last week the brothers accounted for 9% of listener requests, mainly from kids in the 53 station network that bases its playlist entirely on requests. Miley Cyrus, of course, was number one. The Jill Casagrande, the senior vice president and general manager of Radio Disney, says Jonas Brothers are a rare act that, quote, bridges the preteen gender gap. Boys identify with them and girls love them because they're cute. Huh.
I didn't know. I mean,
I don't think boys
did you know any
liked the
boys?
Jonas Brothers.
I was going to say. Maybe, I mean,
And I was gay.
I didn't. I was going to say, right? I was like,
I was out
gay. and
by
I
this
also
time.
didn't
Yeah,
really
I was
find them
out by this
interesting.
time, and I was not checking for the Jonas Brothers. Okay. The Jonas Brothers recently shot an episode of Hannah Montana in which they sing a song with Miss Cyrus as well as a pilot for a possible Disney Channel series. Okay, again, this is by that summer.
Yeah,
They
this is
signed to Hollywood Records in
horizontal
February.
integration.
So like 4 months later after signing, they've already been and plugged into Hannah Montana. They are filming a pilot and they are working on a new album. Quote, this, by the way, let's talk about this pilot series. Their version of Kim Wilde's 1981 hit Kids in America, reworked as Kids of the Future, was on the soundtrack for Walt Disney's studio movie, The Meet the Robinsons. The trio is on the cover of Bop and Tiger Beats magazine's August editions and will appear there again in the September issues. Lisa Coble, editor-in-chief of both magazines, says that recently 75% of their reader comments on the website shared by the magazines pertain to the Jonas Brothers.
Oh.
Columbia executives signed Nick Jonas more than 2 years ago when he was a child actor and an inspiring Christian pop singer. After learning Nick's two older brothers also sang and played guitar and keyboard and drums, Columbia's then president, Steve Greenberg, offered the trio a package deal and helped shape their sound into something more mainstream, encouraging them to listen to seminal pop-punk acts like the Ramones, Sham 69, and Gen X. The label suggested songs to record in their new incarnation as a secular pop-rock act. The first album, It's About Time, sounded like a family-friendly version of Green Day, and before its release garnered some airplay on MTV and Radio Disney. But Mr. Greenberg, the group's champion at the label, left after a corporate power struggle, and Columbia cooled off the project. After several days, a small batch of CDs was released with little marketing or promotion. Just 62,000 copies sold. Today, used copies of the band's out-of-print debut album fetch $40 or more online. A more fundamental issue with Columbia was, like most traditional record labels, simply didn't have access to the same number of child-oriented media outlets as the Disney-owned Hollywood Records. Where Disney aims at young fans through tie-ins with popular cultural television shows, Columbia's route was more typical of a standard rock band promotion. For instance, it hired Andy Timoner, director of the critically acclaimed but commercially inconsequential rock documentary Dig, to shoot 3 music videos for the band. And again, that's, I think, really where we're going with this episode. If you really hear what they're saying here, Columbia understood that they had gold on their hands, that they had something that was very commercially viable and that they had something that they could really work with. But because record labels are inherently dinosaurs and fundamentally resistant to change, they had no idea how to market them in a landscape that was not the one the Ramones were making music in, right?
I mean, the idea of the Jonas Brothers being promoted alongside like the Ramones or like other like adult rock groups, it is comical. You would laugh at them. You'd be like, what is this shit?
Yeah, and I think it makes sense why they were like, say, in festivals with acts like Paramore, but like what Paramore was doing was, one, Paramore was a MySpace sensation, just like other acts on Fueled by Ramen, which was the record label. Shout out Fueled by Ramen Street Team, which I was a part of in middle school and in high school.
My God.
I had signed posters from Paramore and Panic at the Disco for putting up posters around my town.
Do you still have those?
Yeah, they're in storage somewhere. But like how that worked was like, especially for like, say, pop punk bands like Paramore or, Panic at the Disco, they would have street teams that would go out and like put their stuff up. They had the machine that was, Warp Tour, excuse me. It like blinked out there for a sec because truly the universe is trying to make me forget.
Also have it blink out, yeah.
Shout out the year that my parents wouldn't let me go to Warp Tour when I was... No. They like, the street team offered to like let me... I was gonna work one of the booths basically and
go for free basically.
And my parents, when I was old enough to do it, I was like 16, and my parents didn't let me because they said that it was secular and like, I'm probably gonna do drugs. And so I always like lament that, because then one of the people I knew who did that got to meet Hayley Williams, and I'm like never gonna forgive my parents for that. And I had a car. I should have just gone and told them I was doing something else, but I think you needed parental permission was the whole thing. So anyways, I should have just lied.
Mama just forces it.
I know.
The problem is once you ask and they know the date, it's over. They're going to be like, oh, you're going.
Yeah. 100%. So yeah, I just was like a different beast, and the way that Columbia was marketing them was not in that way, because like I did not see the Jonas Brothers on the boards the same way I saw like Hayley Williams or Brendan Urie. Like,
very different vibe as well.
Yeah,
honestly.
Even like other acts like the Veronicas and whatnot, like they were just not running in those circles successfully, at least, right? Because
meanwhile,
again,
you can go and buy a baby bottle
became,
pop.
Yeah, we know what became of Paramore, right? Like we know how big they got. So let's keep going. The break. Okay, so merely spotting talent is no longer enough to guarantee success. After pulling the plug on the album, Columbia released Jonas Brothers from its contract, and Disney Hollywood quickly snapped up the group. The brothers say they didn't mind that they didn't mind the hiatus, because, quote, "We had as a band found it really cool that we had time to grow musically. We did have a lot of time." But the break is over. On June 25th, the band kicked off a 3-month tour around the U.S., headlining theaters, clubs, fairgrounds, playing to crowds of 1,000 or more. They ride on a tour bus with their parents and 6-year-old brother Frankie. And that works out for their parents because their dad is recently jobless, who fans call Bonus Jonas. They are homeschooled with the curriculum from Accelerated Christian Education. The Jonas Brothers have also signed on as a commercial spokesperson for Baby Bottle Pops. And also struck a deal with Walmart stores to put displays highlighting Candy and the Jonas Brothers' new CD side by side in nearly half of Walmart's 4,082 stores in early August. Today, one of our main challenges is making music available to the consumer who just isn't looking for music, says Hollywood's general manager, Abby Konowich. The Baby Bottle Pop displays, he says, gives exposure to the candy buyer as well as the music buyer.
I'm so sorry.
And if there isn't a more apt metaphor for everything, I certainly haven't found it yet.
We're just trying to sell music to people who aren't even interested in music. Like children who are 4 who want candy.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break and then let's jump back in.
Hey everybody, we're the Jonas Brothers. Hope you enjoy tonight's show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. You can look it, shake it and turn it. Thank you, good night.
Hi.
Hello.
We're back from break. So we're going to kind of breeze through the next few articles here because I want to kind of get to what happens this fall. So We are going to talk now about a CNBC article, Disney Channel, the new low-risk launching pad that comes out in August 23rd, 2007. Matt, why don't you read the first few paragraphs of this for me?
Disney Channel Music Group dominates the Billboard 200 chart with 8 titles in the top 50. High School Musical 2 soundtrack by Walt Disney Records is number 1. Hannah Montana 2 / Meet Miley Cyrus, which is also Walt Disney Records and Hollywood Records, is number 2. And Jonas Brothers, Hollywood Records, is number 8. The Disney Music Group is managing to top the charts, while the rest of the music industry suffers thanks to the power of Disney Channel. Disney uses the Disney Channel to launch young talent and franchises. Kids get hooked on the tweeny boppers, and they go out and buy CDs, DVDs, and all sorts of brand stuff. The perfect example of Disney Channel's power, High School Musical. The sequel debuted on Disney Channel last Friday night and scored the biggest audience of any cable broadcast ever, more than 17 million live viewers. The film cost only $4 million, and Disney didn't have to spend the tens of millions it costs to advertise and distribute a film to theaters. By the end of this year, Disney will have reaped $1 billion in revenue from the franchise, and surely the huge draw of the movie has attracted new subscribers to the Disney Channel, which charges more than any of its competitors. It's the 4th most expensive basic cable station after ESPN, Fox Sports, and TNT. The Disney
Isn't
Channel.
that crazy?
I always forget that Disney cost extra because my parents were serious TV people, so they just bought the whole package or whatever with everything included. But I can't imagine.
I think there was a bonus that my mom's work got us to get the cable package. And I think we were on her work's phone plan too. It was all bundled.
Truly,
and
you had to have it. Unfortunately, as a kid, people would be mean to you otherwise.
Well, no, it's the way that kids get mad or people get mad online when they're sorry, but you can just tell when someone didn't grow up with SpongeBob.
True.
It's very that.
Unfortunately, true.
As CNBC notes, and we'll just quickly breeze through this next part, the Disney Channel, quote, seems like the perfect low-risk way to establish new franchises. Instead of spending tens of millions marketing and distributing a new movie, if you launch on Disney Channel, the films are cheaper to produce without hefty P&A costs of a theatrical release. Now, Disney is, of course, going to make High School Musical to put it in theaters, but after a strong launch on the Disney Channel, that film won't bear the risk of a new concept and is sure to be huge for the Mouse House. And that's, I think, just again, this conversation that's happening really around the Jonas Brothers, something that people, I think, are kind of waking up to as the Jonas Brothers kind of spring into existence is this is not the story of some undiscovered kids that were busking on a street corner one day when an executive walked by, right? These were people who were heavily A&R'd, who already had an album and then were basically scooped up after all the development they were put through by Columbia and their training in Broadway and commercials before that to just plug right into the Disney Channel. And I think people kind of see that. Now, I don't think kids cared because that wasn't really something that kids, I think, were really savvy to, the way that I think maybe teens now have a greater lexicon around words like industry plant.
Right.
I don't think they always use it effectively, of course. But really the Jonas Brothers are the definition of an industry plant.
It's kind of hilarious.
They are literally an industry plant.
In that episode where the Jonas Brothers are introduced to Miley Cyrus, it was that scene where they're trying to share a recording studio or whatever. And I was this show, Hannah Montana, was literally to plant Miley Cyrus as a mega celebrity. And then the Jonas Brothers at that time had a flop album and then a new album that just came out. And then were immediately planted as also mega pop superstars. And as a kid, you're watching it going, wow, these two people are so big and important. Meanwhile, it's Disney just spending the last year making sure that you believe that exact same thing.
Yeah, and in that clip, actually, can you play just a portion of that clip here when they specifically meet Miley Cyrus when they bust through the door?
Yes.
We're such big fans.
We love your music.
You're pretty.
Pretty good with the singing and the dancing that you do. Wow, you're pretty.
Nice save. I'm Kevin.
The cute romantic one. You're Joe, the cute funny one. You're Nick, the cute sensitive one.
And I'm her daddy, the cute protective one.
As you heard in that clip, they will say to Miley says to all of them, I can't remember what she says to Joe. She says something you're the handsome or you're the cool one.
Oh, yeah, you're the
and
cute,
then she's
sensitive
Kevin,
one.
Kevin, you're the funny one. And Nick, you're the sensitive one. And this was before they had an album with the Disney Channel. And this was purely, again, marketing.
Yeah,
it's
like they're making it up as they go along.
No, I mean, this is how it works. Like, these executives were using this as a way to immediately solidify the fan base, right? They know that there's going to be crossover between Hannah Montana fans and Jonas Brothers fans. And so they're telling the fandom, like, this is how you think about them. Nick is sensitive. Kevin is funny. Joe is cool. And it's like, okay, so when we talk about them, these are their personalities. These are the ones that you can imprint on.
Yep.
Are you the one that likes the funny guy? Do you like the sensitive guy? Do you like the cool guy? Like that, it's like a very classic way to market, like specifically like boy bands and girl groups. I think that these are very
like the
like just
101s,
you see this a lot in K-pop too.
Yeah.
Or like even just the way Perfume, which is not K-pop, they're, you know, Japanese dance music, but like even the way Perfume kind of like satirizes that concept also, you know, she's like the cutesy one, she's like the cool older sister,
They have
she's
to have
like
their aesthetic,
the mature
their
one.
unique design.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. So Disney Channel is, quote, in tune with the Jonas Brothers. This is from that next month. It's from September 24th, 2007, from our favorite our favorite website. What is it that we call it?
Routers?
Reuters.
Routers. Okay, now
Reuters.
I'm so mad. We did this. No one corrected us on either one, and now they're going to put us to
Not
the
a single
flames.
one. So, Matt, why don't you once again for me read the first few paragraphs?
Sure. After making stars of singer-actors like Hilary Duff and Miley Cyrus, Disney Channel has now set its sights on a trio of teen siblings, ordering a series, movie, and concert special starring recording act The Jonas Brothers. Kevin, Joe, and Nick Jonas will star in a live-action spy comedy titled Jonas, Jonas, which is set to go into production early next year. They play government sleuths, aka junior operatives networking as spies, who thwart evil while working undercover as a superstar teen rock band. The number of episodes has yet to be determined. The way this is like literally just boy Hannah Montana.
Yeah, literally it's
undercover, like double lives.
Yeah,
Best
they're
of both
double lives
worlds.
as spies instead of as a pop star.
Okay, currently in production in Toronto is Camp Rock.
Which, by the way, we're going to be watching and reviewing for the podcast.
Absolutely,
obviously.
on the Patreon, mama.
One of our favorite movies of all time. We famously streamed it during the pandemic, and it was one of the greatest things.
I
that has
missed
ever
that
happened.
stream, which is so upsetting. So I still haven't seen it since I was
You
like
still
a
have
child.
never seen. Wow, she's
It's really good. I mean,
good.
it's that a million times, but I haven't seen the movie all the way through since like I was
Yeah.
a child. So I am so
Wow.
excited.
I'm so excited for you.
So again, currently in production in Toronto is Camp Rock, a music-filled original movie that will premiere on the cable channel next summer. The Jonases play members of a leading music group, Connect 3, who are celebrity guest counselors at a prestigious summer camp for aspiring musicians. Oh my God.
Keep going.
In addition, the network is set to air a concert special, Jonas Brothers in Concert, originating from New York's Gramercy Park on October 6th. The special will feature songs from the group's self-titled second album, released by Walt Disney co-owned Hollywood Records, which recently reached number 5 of the Billboard 200.
And of course, all 3 projects will air on the Disney Channel. Isn't that something?
This
Now,
is vertical and horizontal marketing at this point. Like, we have it all.
So they then retread how the Jonas Brothers were discovered from Wyckoff, New Jersey, live in LA, and came to the attention of Radio Disney in early 2005. They also have since, you know, getting involved with the Disney Channel, recorded the theme song for American Dragon Jake Long, which was like one of my favorite shows on the Disney Channel
my
back in the
God,
day. I used to
yes,
love that
way
show.
back.
Also, we have the brothers had been featured in like a concert special called the Disney Channel Games at Walt Disney World in Orlando, and also had guest starred in Hannah Montana's obviously famous episode as well. And that episode famously actually premiered after the premiere of High School Musical
Jesus
2.
Christ. So like riding that crest of like 20 million teens.
Yeah, and Gary Marsh, Disney Channel Worldwide President of Entertainment, had said at the time, music has become a big part of Disney Channel's programming. And he also said that other series like High School Musical and the Cheetah Girls were evidence of this. They also then, as of this date in September, had planned a 54-date arena tour as part of Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus' Best of Both Worlds that kicks off in October.
54
So they basically,
dates is so crazy.
I know. And again, Nick is like 15.
I mean, wasn't Miley like 17 at this time?
So, can you look at this photo of them at the 2007 American Music Awards in November?
I am obsessed with this photo.
Who are you? Who are you? I'm obviously Joe.
I'm Nick with the infinity scarf.
Okay, so in this photo, we have Kevin fully with sideburns looking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Kevin has sideburns, a vest with chains, and then a striped tie,
The
popped
oversized,
white
really
short
long tie that they were all doing at the time.
Yeah, like the skinny tie, and then like a popped white t-shirt collar.
Business casual in the club vibes.
Joe is in a leather blazer with a gray button up with the collar popped outside of the leather blazer, and then a black tie. His hair is
Anime
like
villain hair. I'm sorry.
he looks like a Kingdom Hearts character.
Yes.
Like he looks like Italian Cloud Strife. Like if Cloud Strife was from New Jersey. Like he has like flat iron bangs that go swoop to one side, and then he has a bump in his hair all around. And it's like it's as if Kate from John and Kate Plus 8 like slayed and shopped at Hot Topic. Like it's like if John and Kate Plus 8 was around for TikTok,
Like
you
if
know,
she went
they
through
were
the
like
bimbo
actually
machine.
like a TikTok family first. And then of course like the aviator sunglasses that
In the
are
pocket.
tucked into the pocket of his leather blazer. And then Nick, the sensitive brother, has his curls. He has a baby face. He has a one of those like infinity scarves, and then a sensible gray heathered pea coat with a untucked in white t-shirt.
See,
underneath.
unfortunately, I was the gabe with the pea coat and the infinity scarf.
Yeah, I dress like
time in
Nick
high
Jonas.
school.
You've seen the photos. I mean, sorry, I dress like Joe Jonas. You've seen the photos.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Scroll through to the photo of just Nick and Kevin. Like it's Kevin always in all of these photos, who's like almost 20.
It's
I
an
think
energy.
he's 20 here, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
He literally is so hello kids, how are you doing in this photo? Like he looks like a 40-year-old man, and the sideburns are not helping. Like
No.
he looks like what's his name from Step Brothers, like the way they've styled his hair. Like
It's so bad. It's like, I know it's supposed to like that messy look, but it's rough. It's just the chains. It's the chains between the
yeah,
gray
he looks
vest.
like such a douchebag. Sorry, Kevin. Actually, I don't say sorry because I have seen your reality TV show, Kevin, and I do think you're a douchebag. Okay. So they performed at the American Music Awards, and there was really like not a lot happening with this American Music Awards event, like concert. You would think that like for one of their first big award shows, there would be some kind of thing. But guys, I was in the archives. I was on the blogs. I was on the like fucking, oh no, they didn't boards. The most that we got out of the American Music Awards was Nick eating shit on stage.
Wait.
I mean, Joe eating shit on stage. But let me read this MTV roundup from the night of the American Music Awards. Daughtry. Remember Daughtry? Remember Chris Daughtry from American Idol?
My God. I have to like Google this already. It's been
And
so
Carrie
long.
Underwood stage Idol Takeover at American Music Awards. Usher offers support to Kanye West. This is from the night of the American Music Awards, or the morning after, 11/19/2007. So of course, someone who did win Idol, country superstar and season 4 champ Carrie Underwood, also took home trophy case furniture. Both former idols snared 3 statues during a broadcast that featured, and this is their one like mention on MTV, that featured a Jonas brother, Joe, almost face planting during a performance. Quote, it wasn't as spectacular as Beyonce's onstage fall in July, but embarrassing nonetheless. And then this next line that shook me to my core when I read it. Like, time is a flat circle, but if you needed a reminder that time is a flat circle and nothing in this world is real, this next paragraph will convince you. Quote, host Jimmy Kimmel was forced to wing it most of the night as a result of the Hollywood writers' strike.
Oh my God. Of course. I should have realized the timeline.
The Joe Bros, the fact that the Joe Bros ascended during the Hollywood writers' strike and then were dethroned once again during the Hollywood writers' strike 15 years later is truly like a layer to this story that I was not expecting
One could say
in any way.
It's divine.
So, okay, my favorite thing is Joe Jonas had a MySpace that the Jonas Brothers ran, and he blogged about this, but because of the way that MySpace has restructured, you can't even like...
It's gone. It's gone, girl.
Yeah, you can't even get that archived page because it just like... The way that it existed was like, I think it was like JavaScript or something. Like the way that it wasn't
the way
like
archived information was not the same.
It wasn't
now.
HTML. Like it wasn't something that the archive could save. So this Just Jared headline.
It wasn't
Joe
HTML.
Jonas. I'm bleeding. Okay. So in his MySpace blog, Matt, this second graph that starts with the indent, can you read from that to the end for me as Joe Jonas?
So the introduction started and we could hear the fans screaming and running down to the stage. When the glass broke, we started walking through. On the way, though, I slipped and fell down on my hands and knees. When I looked up, I saw one of our fans, Alexa from Mexico, and the smile on her face as well as the faces of the other fans. This let me know I had to get right up and perform for them. Once I got up, it was so much fun. I decided to give it everything I have to give. After the performance, I got back to the dressing room. Someone said, "Joe, you're bleeding." I had felt some pain in my hand, but no idea that there was so much blood. I noticed that my white suit had blood on the knees. I also had cuts on my hand. We called the medics and they cleared up my leg and hands. After we changed clothes, we headed back to our seats. Everyone greeted us when we walked in and told us that it was awesome that we got up and performed our hearts out.
Legends. Okay, so...
show
the
must
OC
go
Register
on.
has a Q&A with Nick Jonas, and I will be the interviewer, Matt, and then you will be Nick Jonas.
Isn't
Okay,
this
so
when he was like literally 15?
quote, they hail from New Jersey, but the Jonas Brothers are said to be the next tween sensations. This is from actually Christmas Eve 2007 in the OC Register.
Wow.
They hail from New Jersey, but right now we're guessing the Jonas Brothers' favorite state is Montana. The curly-topped siblings have front row seats to the hottest tour of the year as the opening act of the Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus Best of Both Worlds tour, which has parents across the country selling family heirlooms for tickets. Quote, the boys got major exposure on the hit Disney Channel series and then rode the mouse train, paid off for Kevin 20, Joe 18, and Nick 15. Their Disney Channel original movie, Camp Rock, premieres next summer, and the rest, obviously, as you know, is history. They also would be premiering in the Walt Disney World Christmas Day Parade.
Damn,
so
they are like
we chatted
any
with
job,
Nick.
any gig, they will show up.
Yeah. So they chatted by phone with Nick, who was in Cincinnati at the time. I will be asking you these questions. Let's get going.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best perk of being the hottest tour of the year?
There's the obvious boost in record sales. That always helps. He laughs. It's a sold-out arena tour, which is the most people's dream when they think of being in a band. And the fact that we're living the dream is amazing for us.
The sound on your records is vintage power pop and classic rock that predates your birth. Where do you draw your inspirations from?
I think we have a lot of different influences. Big ones are Johnny Cash, Prince, Stevie Wonder, The Animals, The Rascals, the Steve Miller Band, and the Beatles, obviously.
In terms of longevity, teen pop bands don't have the best track record. What's your long-term plan?
I think we definitely are going to expand our horizons. Not only do music, but possibly produce for other artists. We're definitely going to write for other artists, and also acting's a big thing in our future. I think the really important thing is that when you write your own songs and play your own instruments, that will really help us in the future, and we're very confident about that.
It's like, give us nothing, girl. And also you're 15. Like, just like, it's like, music is fun and I like making music. So when I make music, things are fun and I'd like to do more of that. Like, okay. With all of this quick success, what do you do to stay grounded?
He's 15. Anyway, sorry. It's important to remember that we're family before we're a band. Also, our parents are amazing, and we live by a rule, which is live like you're at the bottom, even if you're at the top, which basically just means live your life knowing that just because you have amazing opportunities doesn't make you better than anyone else.
That is so evangelical.
I was going to say,
That
this
is
is so
evangelical.
Christian coded. So
Now, Matt, This next
this is where the
article-
premonition begins, right?
This
The precog
next article
moment.
was reading it and I was like, "Ah!" Like I was like, well, like literally speaking of Disney Channel, That's So Raven into the eye, like
I had a vision.
So this was not an article about the Jonas Brothers, but they are included in this. And once again, shout out to my best friend, the People Magazine Archives, who is my most stalwart companion, my first
Oh, they do
love.
the work, right? They
And
they organize.
do everything that
yeah.
I've ever needed. Yeah. The People Magazine Archives, you've given me so much in this life and have built my career, and I will always love you. Thank you so much. Good night. Who will be the next big tween star? This is from December 26, 2007, from People Magazine. You can actually go click through it in our links if you'd like. Among some of her fans and their parents, Nickelodeon star Jamie Lynn Spears may have lost some of her status as a tween idol, but there are many other young actors and actresses whose talent could soon make them a household name. Already a superstar, of course, is Miley Cyrus. Here, People looks at the next group of tween stars who we'll likely be talking about in the years to come.
Mama.
So I'm just going to read through some of these, and we're going to just be going from here. Miranda Cosgrove, 14. Matt, can you look up when iCarly premiered, just for me?
I think it's 2008, but let's see.
Yeah, so it might not have even premiered yet. Miranda Cosgrove, 14. She broke through as the
I'm so
Smarty
sorry.
Pants
Actually,
band manager.
yeah, I was gonna say it was literally 4 months before this article came out. Actually,
Yeah.
September 8th, 2007.
She broke through as the Smarty Pants band manager in School of Rock, then got her own Nickelodeon TV series, iCarly. She told People recently, quote, I am people constantly. My mom is always yelling at me because I'm always talking with my friends. I'm constantly on the internet on YouTube.
So true, Queen.
Selena Gomez, 15. She stars in Wizards of Waverly Place, a Disney Channel series about kids with magic powers. She told People, quote, for not being that she may give her parents credit for, quote, not being irresponsible or getting in trouble a lot or hanging out with the wrong crowd.
Huh?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming. The Jonas Brothers, Kevin, 20, Joe, 18, Nick, 15.
I gotta love, by the way, that every time we check in with them, it's like Joe, 18, Kevin, 20.
Yeah.
Literally breakdown every time.
So Demi Lovato, 15. A regular on the Disney Channel short series As the Bell Rings, and next summer they'll be the envy of girls everywhere when they star in a lead role opposite the Jonas Brothers. I've changed the pronouns there, obviously.
Yeah.
Emily Osment, 15. The young sister of actor Haley Joel Osment got into several acting years ago with Spy Kids 2, and now stars with Cyrus and Hannah Montana. She told People in 2002 that if she and her brother, quote, tried to act like big shots, my family wouldn't allow us to go out in public. Emma Roberts, 16. The daughter of Eric Roberts and niece of Julia, she appeared in the movie Blow when she was just 9, starred as Nancy Drew, and is the lead in the Nickelodeon series Unfabulous. Wait, I'm
Shout
sorry.
out to Unfabulous.
Wait, Emma Roberts Unfabulous? I don't remember this.
Are you
at
kidding
all.
me?
Wait,
Are you joking with me?
No, wait,
She's
1 second.
literally she is Unfabulous.
No, Matt, I know that. I'm saying how many seasons was this on?
What are you trying to say? I'm a Roberts Unfabulous.
I don't think
crazy.
I ever watched Unfabulous.
You must have. Oh my God.
No, I
were
was
an Unfabulous
iCarly
girl?
all the way. I was
was
iCarly
both.
and Hannah Montana.
I liked Unfabulous.
And
I hate to
SpongeBob.
say it.
What was it about?
Emma Roberts Unfabulous. What? It's about just a girl who's, weird or something. I don't even fucking remember.
It made no impression on me.
She
if
was
I did
literally
watch
the
it.
main and only star.
Yeah.
You're like, who?
Okay.
Who?
Okay, and then we have David Henry,
Oh my God.
who was in That's So Raven and Wizards of Waverly Place. And then Allison Stoner.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's their projections for who's coming. I can't get
Well,
over.
most
And
of
again,
them.
this is the kind of thing that I just doing these kinds of series. It like it's just hard to see things like in a more chronological way in the past to the future when Selena says that she gives her parents credit for, quote, not being irresponsible or getting in trouble
Listen,
a lot,
they had
or
nothing
hanging
else.
out with the wrong crowd.
They had nothing else to say. That's all Disney wanted them to be, was perfect young role models.
Okay. Now, this was the part of this where I went, oh, they were cooking at the House of Mouse. So they were dabbling in forbidden recipes and casting
Stirring
spells.
the cauldron with Miss Nikki.
And I want to say something, and I'm going to be the very first person to ever say this. You know those TikTok videos that are like, here's how My Chemical Romance actually is the reason that Ellen DeGeneres lost her job. And it's like a Rube Goldberg machine of like celebrity news, you know?
Wait, is that true? Joking.
I'm making this. Okay, so my celebrity Rube Goldberg machine is that Britney Spears being forcibly put in a conservatorship against her will is the reason the Jonas Brothers eventually lose everything. I mean, in terms of like what
You said
happens
that
with
was
Joe.
a lot. That's a lot to think about.
The karmic cycle completes itself after Britney is forcibly put in a conservatorship, and something happens with the Jonas Brothers concerning Britney's career that then 15 years later, Nick pays the karmic toll on what happens at the end of 2007.
Turns,
Are you
Mama,
ready for
the
this?
wheel turns. Please.
So this is from TMZ. The woman who worked for Britney Spears for 10 years has moved on from playing lackey to Brit to playing lackey to the Jonas Brothers. What's more, the Daily News reports that Felicia Culotta, aka Faye, Britney's former assistant, has enlisted the service of Brit's former bodyguards, Big Rob, to work for Kevin, Joe, and Nick, who are 2018 and 15 respectively. By her account, Felicia started working with Brit when she was 16. Did someone tell Mom and Pop Jonas about this? Faye says that working with the Jonases is a totally positive experience and says they are wonderful.
Ooh. So this is literally like, was it this year the conservatorship began for Britney?
Let me see.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure there's an exact number here.
No, they were in court for it, and it starts February 1st, 2008. So this is like,
and this is
literally
December 26th, 2007.
Oh, Matt. She literally jumps from Britney to the Jonas Brothers with Britney's bodyguards.
That is fucking crazy.
Matt.
Again, this is the peak of like pop culture itself. Like everything was happening.
Matt, what did I say? Britney Spears is the reason that Joe Jonas eventually loses everything and is dragged through the mud. And you know what? That's why Britney is our motherfucking mother here on Eating for Free. She cast those fucking spells and twirled with those prop knives and got Joe Jonas out of here. She said, enough.
She actually has the voodoo doll. Like,
so on February 1st, and I'm just summarizing some other news that we're not going to get into. On February 1st, 2008, they get featured in the Hannah Montana / Miley Cyrus Best of Both Worlds concert movie, which premieres in theaters worldwide. And as we said, this comes on the heels of them being featured in an episode of Hannah Montana the year prior. So the Jonas Brothers leave fans screaming. This is from February 22nd, 2008, from M Live. This is just a quick blurb. Again, we're not going to focus on this for too long, but just to kind of give you like a window into the mania around the Jonas Brothers, as well as how they were being talked about by adults. Hysteria reigned at Van Andel Arena Thursday night as pop phenoms, the Jonas Brothers, took the stage in front of 8,000 fans. All over the arena, flashes burst like popcorn and cell phones lit up the night, and the mostly female audience showed big love to Kevin 20, Joe 18, and Nick 15 with some barrier puncturing screams. Now, Seacoastonline in the same month posts, again, just an interview with the brothers from their tour. This was called Jonas Brothers on the Road to Superstardom. And this, as well as the next article, are going to end our episode today. And really, I think you will understand why we are closing the chapter a year after this episode began with these two particular articles. Now, Matt, why don't you read for us like 4 or 5 paragraphs of this, and then I'll jump in.
If you're not a tween/teenage girl or don't live in proximity to one, you may not yet be on the phenomenon created by 20-year-old Kevin, 18-year-old Joe, and 15-year-old Nick. They opened for Miley Cyrus.
In case you forgot.
I know, literally, like, in case you forgot. They opened for Miley Cyrus in her fall Hannah Montana tour to delight the shrieking girls everywhere. Their song, SOS, moment for SOS. Like, anyone who listened to the radio during that year, RIP. Their song SOS catapulted to #1 on iTunes. Their second album has sold more than 900,000 copies, and that's just the beginning. Earlier this month, the band became the youngest act to sign a deal with concert presenter Live Nation. The multi-million-dollar 2-year pact includes promoting 140 shows in theaters and arenas worldwide by the New Jersey-based brothers starting in January 31st in Arizona. While some may consider putting such big money behind a still developing act risky, Billboard's Ray Waddle calls it a smart move. The Jonas Brothers are about as safe as a bet as exists in the music business today. This is a Super Bowl year for them. Indeed, the band's 3 February shows at the Gibson Amphitheater in University City, California, set a record for the fastest sellouts in the venue's 35-year history when the first 2 shows sold out in 2 minutes. All the success comes after the band got off to a rocky start. Its debut album came out on Columbia in 2006, as we know, flop. Columbia president Steve Greenberg had departed the label, as we know. The band parted ways with Columbia and signed with Hollywood Records. It's funny, we've been tracking that It's About Time being a flop, and then soon it was selling $40 online, and now It's About Time is a collector's item at this time selling for $300 on Amazon.com, which is...
Yeah, because remember when Amazon
just started too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Remember when Amazon was like not
it was
Amazon.com?
Like eBay-ish, like kind of adjacent stuff. Yeah. The only way to get into this is the Greenberg. The only way to get onto pop radio is to make records with broad appeal. They have begun to do that. This is different from being big in Disney's proprietary media, where super serving the core young audiences is all that matters. Now that the Disney juggernaut will stop anytime soon, in mid-June comes Camp Rock. I love how we're just like waiting for Camp Rock to happen.
Yeah, Camp Rock is like the asteroid rapidly approaching Earth. Like,
well, think about it. You have this like hit after hit after hit of like Miley and Jonas Brothers and like all these pop stars and Disney phenomenon. And then you're like, we're really about to drop a movie that's going to change lives. And you have a whole year to promote it. It makes sense. So
Matt, it's like every day we were waking up in 2008 and the announcer on the emergency broadcast was like, 4 months to impact. 3 months to impact. 1 day to impact. Camp Rock has officially entered our atmosphere. Brace for impact. And over the intercom, you just hear Allison Stoner. Wow, she's really good. Okay, so of course, Disney was hoping Camp Rock will be the next High School Musical. The next month, the band is due to release their 3rd album just before Camp Rock. Joe says the topics are, quote, girls, missing a girl on the road, or liking someone, or having fun on tour. No, literally.
I'm sorry to read that quote again. Joe says the topics are, quote, girls, comma, missing a girl on the road, or liking someone, or having fun on tour.
It's incredible. I know. Matt, you have to give it up to me that I have really found some gems here.
This is a gem. Musically, Nick adds, it's got more Elvis Costello, Prince type influences.
So then, of course, we get the TV show taping, of course. And my favorite sentence of the entire episode. The taping of which has temporarily been thwarted by the writer's strike, but is likely to start in the fall.
L-O fucking L.
So the tour, of course, happens first. They say they've learned a lot from working with Miley Cyrus, and that when tickets went on sale, they decided that the first 20 rows would only be sold at the box office of the venue through a lottery system and not online. Quote, what happened on the last tour was so difficult, says Kevin, surrounding issues that the Red Hot Cyrus tour had, kind of made happen, where tickets had sold for more than $2,000 by scalpers and eBay. Isn't that crazy, by the way?
That is actually insane to think about.
Before Renaissance, there were scalpers busking $2,000 tickets to the Joe Bros tour. Like,
by the way, $2,000, 2006, just did the math, is worth over $3,000 today.
Yeah. So life on tour is good for the trio, with one minor complaint. Quote, we drive all night to get to where we're going, so we have to get out of our bus and into the hotel room, Kevin says. Sometimes people are outside your hotel at 4 a.m. and you just woke up and you're a little discombobulated, but we still try to have as much fun as we should. Now, Matt, close your eyes. Don't read. Close your eyes.
All right.
Everyone listening, unless you're driving or operating heavy machinery or fucking, which some people might be fucking to our podcast, don't close your eyes. Well, maybe actually close your eyes. Maybe the person you're fucking is ugly.
Love and light.
I just want everyone to close their eyes, love and light, because what's about to happen is gonna happen. However, there is a cap on some kinds of fun. All three brothers wear purity rings, a symbol that they will remain pure until marriage. Before we were even in a band, it was something we did, Kevin says. Now, of course, everything we do is under scrutiny and under spotlight, especially being part of the Disney environment. Now, Style.com comes in the same month as part of this press tour after the Live Nation deal goes live, and they brace for the second arena tour and the third album.
140 venues. I'm sorry.
Yes. The total awesomeness of being the Jonas Brothers. This is from February 19th, 2008, excuse me. So they talk about how the writer meets them in a dressing room in Madison Square Garden. They are, quote, on the brink of hugeness and wear metal bands on their fingers to symbolize, as Joe puts it, promises to ourselves and to God that we'll stay pure until marriage. Joe is 18. His ring is silver and adorned with a cross. It actually ripped apart a little bit just on the bottom here, but I didn't want to get a new one because this one means so much to me. Matt, can you read what Nick, who is 15, says?
Sorry. Nick, who's 15, says, I got mine made at Disney World. It's pretty awesome.
Kevin, who is 20, is the oldest at Disney. I was saving that one just for you. I got man-made at Disney World. It's pretty awesome. Kevin, and also seasoned professional, right? The brothers are like, mine's titanium oxide and it has a skull and a cross, and I'm attached to it. Like, it means something to me. And Nick's like, I got mine made at insert brand partnership. You can find your own purity ring in select packages of ring pops.
Okay, what's those like little penny making machines, but it's like for purity rings?
Okay. No, this is my favorite. So Kevin, the douchebag, comes in, and he's 20 at this point, so we can call him a douchebag. Right. At 20, is the oldest of the three. And while a punk rock purity ring from Tiffany might represent the ultimate oxymoron,
shut the fuck up.
That's exactly what he's going for.
What?
His silver vow of abstinence is covered with studs. It's pretty rock and roll, Kevin says. It's getting banged up a little bit because of the guitar. I love that, like,
this is the most douchebag shit ever.
Nick's like, I got my purity ring at Disney because we work for Disney. And did I mention Disney World, where you can get a purity ring made for yourself? We work for Disney. And in case you need to know that, you can also buy Baby Bottle Pop. Baby Bottle Pop. Get your purity ring at Disney World. And then Joe's like, yeah, man, mine like really matters, man. And then Kevin is like, you might think you might think
Stop.
that my purity ring is from Tiffany and it's really controversial, babe, but I think it's punk rock, babe. I don't know why I went there for Kevin, but he's a little bit posh. Like he's posh.
They're like the
pretending
least
to be punk rock.
British people, but he definitely wants to be seen in Britain at some point.
Yeah. So they're getting
Tiffany
interviewed at
ring.
Madison Square Garden because they are there for the Jingle Ball, which is the Z100 holiday concert that has over the years turned into a coronation ceremony for the quote new superstars of teen America.
That's so
I got that
true,
directly
though,
from Style.
Actually,
yeah, no, 100%.
that was like such an event.
Also,
for no reason.
remember in what was it? Girls Five Eva, where they also are trying to in the
oh my
first season
god,
to
you're
perform
right.
at the
They
Jingle
are.
Ball.
That's oh my god.
By the way, Girls Five Eva, such a good show.
So good.
Let's keep going.
Yes.
So they talk about how they grew up in New Jersey and they remember calling into the radio station when they were kids that were, they just wanted to like win tickets to the ball, etc. Now they're headlining it. The article talks about how by 2008, they were essentially the largest teen band in the world, aside from Hannah Montana, who, by the way, was a solo act. So like specifically as a band, they were like the largest ones in the world. Within a few hours now, close your eyes again. Everyone close your eyes. And if you're having sex, you might want to put your clothes back on. Within a few hours, this is directly from style.com. Within a few hours, the dressing room starts to feel like a bunker. By nightfall, the narrow passageway leading to the room is clogged with chattering, unsupervised clusters of teenage girls in braces and low-slung jeans with Ugg boots. Big Rob, the brother's 395-pound bodyguard, who, speaking of, was the one we mentioned in the last article, who used to work for Britney, glowers and shoos the girls away. But within minutes, they're back, craning their necks, arching their backs, oh my godding into their phones, glossing their lips, batting their eyelashes, and fidgeting with their all-access passes. Now and then, the door opens for a fleeting moment. When the film heavyweight Harvey Weinstein comes by with his daughter and a phalanx of her friends, and when Timbaland, decked out in a fur coat and a crucifix, pays an imperial visit. Each time the door slides open a couple of centimeters, the girl find out in the hallway, totally lose it, and burst into gusts of shrieking. When film heavyweight Harvey Weinstein comes in with a phalanx of teen girls. Dun, dun, dun. Did you think I was going to include Britney Spears' conservatorship, the writer's strike, and Harvey Weinstein into our series on the Jonas Brothers? Were you expecting that? Was that where you thought I was going with this?
I have nothing to say. Such a nexus of
I know.
weird vibes. Like to be a fly on the wall as like Timbaland and Harvey Weinstein and Nick Jonas are hanging out in a backstage.
Yeah, it's bad. So Nick concedes at some point, quote, "Screaming girls are awesome, but we always kind of stand for being a role model and trying to make a difference." What? Screaming girls are awesome, but we always kind of stand for being a role model and trying to make a difference. And I think this, meaning the purity rings, is just one of our ways of kind of being different than everybody else out there.
I'm sorry. Okay, it's so funny because like knowing there was that homeless foundation set up in his name, he must have been he really was trained in like the having conversations industrial complex. He's like, women are crazy, we love being role models, purity rings make us different, love and light.
Yeah. Disney Channel bottle pop. So there, then he gets kind of into the multimedia machine behind the pop that has built them. So David Smay, co-editor of the 2001 Candy Pop Bible, Bubblegum Music is the Naked Truth, says, quote, "The business side of this has definitely changed. When you have a radio station and a TV station that are aimed at your market the way Disney does, you can generate a hit band every other year. You can generate content as well as own the distribution, and you can just pound on that market all day long. They talk about how the, bodyguards, etc., all came through the Britney Spears industrial complex. And then, quote, this is from the style writer. And I was like, Matt, when I read this paragraph, my head tilted like a full 360 degrees around like The Exorcist and then spun around and spat green goo. You can't, Matt, I'm sorry. I just started thinking about what this paragraph says and okay, let me try and get through it. You can't help but think of Team Britney as a pack of investment analysts who have knowingly shifted their allocations from one commodity trending downward to another on the rise.
Oh,
but
God.
it is that very name Britney that hovers like a cautionary horn-headed phantom above any band that wants to rule the fickle hordes of teen America. The Jonas Brothers, says their tour director Rob Brenner, who worked with Spears for several years, quote, want to remain grounded. Those of us who have been around a lot have seen what happens if you don't.
Jail. All of you go to jail.
You
Express
all
route to jail.
should be in fucking
This is
jail.
human trafficking.
Like, can you imagine being
that poor Britney girl.
Can you
Better
imagine
to fall to her. Sorry, yeah.
being a seasoned child star tour manager and being like, man, I've seen some shit, and you're ripping cigs and you're like, some of these kids come through my concert hall and they just turn into fucking terrors, man. I ain't got nothing to do with that, though. Like,
That's exactly as I'm imagining it. It's like the judges of
it's
like
none of my business, though. Like, oh, all that shit that went down in here, I got nothing to do with that.
it's giving some like Abby Lee Miller
Yeah.
toddler competition where they're like, I've seen a lot of girls fall to the wayside.
Of the pyramid. Let's start from the top. Like,
I've seen a lot of girls
you did not
fall
hit
to
your
the
routine.
wayside.
You know how these kids are, always getting into trouble while on tour with us adults who are supposed to be supervising them, but you never know how they're going to turn out while in our care, and we've certainly got nothing to do with it. Jail. You should all be like prison specifically for the people that are employed by child stars and prison only for them.
Honestly,
and Harvey Weinstein.
everyone at Disney can go. All of you.
Like, these are the people in Eating for Free jail. Scooter Braun.
Everyone at Disney.
Everyone in Justin Bieber's family. Frankie Grande. Britney Spears' entire team. Britney Spears' entire family. And then the entire town of Wyckoff, New Jersey until we figure out what's going on there. like we're gonna like full scale travel back in time and abduct the town of Wyckoff, New Jersey, and it's just gonna be a hole in the ground
We didn't
where the
even
town of
mention it,
Wyckoff,
but
New
like
Jersey
a lot of
was.
people got back to us telling us how that's like one of the richest suburbs of New Jersey or something. Like it
100%.
has that reputation of being like, yeah, super.
We actually
luxe.
have listener mail about the Jonas Brothers, but
We'll have to save that. Yeah.
So the article then goes into talking about how the Disney machine has met its perfect match in the Jonas Brothers, but how can a man stay squeaky clean all the way into his 20s? And at what point does it seem a bit odd?
I mean,
This line of reasoning helps explain why the purity rings are a sensitive topic. Kevin says to the writer, quote, "Oh yeah, they get asked us this on a daily basis. Quote, people write that it's not true that we're taking pictures with girls. Of course we take pictures with girls. They're our fans. I've had a ring before this one and I lost it in a wave pool on vacation at Atlantis, the deluxe family-friendly resort in the Bahamas. And I didn't have a ring on for like 2 weeks and someone took a picture of me and then it was a huge rumor on the internet."
I'm sorry, that's a Disney resort, by the way. Of course. I lost at Disney's Atlantis resort in Bermuda. Ask your parents now.
Now, the next month, and we're going to end here, they celebrate Easter with George W. Bush at the White House.
Wow.
And from there, we are off to the fucking races. You can actually see that here.
There's a
at
photo
the George
gallery,
W. Bush
right?
White House archive. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. It's pretty iconic.
What a moment. What a
I know. Moment
to
in
have.
fucking time. Wow. Wow.
I'm spent. I'm spent.
Remember George W. Bush? He's I was about to say, didn't he die? He did not die.
God willing. Please.
Okay. So let's actually talk about this listener letter that we got about the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, slay.
So this is from a listener, Jasmine, whose identity we will, we won't say your full name here, even though it's in the letter. So hi, Joan and Matt. My name is Jasmine. I'm a huge fan of your pod. Like, seriously, I am in research to eventually move to be an entertainment-based researcher. Shout out to you, Jasmine.
Yes.
You're an icon.
Hell yes.
So back in 9th grade, I was best friends with this younger girl, Jessica. She was like 3 years younger. She dragged me to the Emerald Square Mall in North Attleboro, Massachusetts.
Oh my God.
Jessica begged her mom to go with me. All I remember is a pretty long line at the FYE music store. After waiting, me and Jess, the only black girls in the line, went up to take a picture. I literally never met a famous person in my life prior to this. We took our photos, and all I remember was sweating through my sad Aeropostale gray shirt. Girl, if we weren't all in a sad Aeropostale gray shirt in the 9th grade. At the end, then they signed a poster. I think it was Kevin who said, quote, how blessed they were to have fans. Now, to be completely honest, I was not huge Joe Bros fan, being 14. I thought they were cookie cutter Jesus band. In my mind, I was edgy, but I did think they were cute. Cut to some time later, after the picture was developed, I gave the poster picture to my younger sister's bestie, who was 5 years younger than me. To this day, she says it was the best gift she has ever gotten. All of this to say, even at a young age, I kind of picked up on the vibe. They were not like regular kids just playing music, like something was up. Maybe because I grew up watching that Jackson Family documentary on VH1 too many times, but they did not seem happy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed reading this, and I will try my hardest to find the photo. Kindly, Jazz.
Oh my God.
Jasmine, you're an icon. We are making heart emojis through the podcast at you right now. Thank you so much. I had asked people, like, did you meet the Jonas Brothers on their mall tours? Please write in. And we got a write in. So shout out to the Jonas Brothers mall tour patrons and recipients.
The Jackson
you lived through literally history.
The Jackson 5 like parallels, I'm sure, are terrifying.
Yeah.
I haven't considered that yet, though.
That's all we've got for y'all today. That's it, folks.
That's all, folks.
I want to go play Baldur's Gate 3, so I really don't got much to promote. Thank you to everyone who came out to the Crooks and Nanny show in Philadelphia last weekend. It was very fun. Shout out to them. They are playing another show with Japanese Breakfast right before Halloween, but I don't think tickets are still available to that unless you're like a huge Japanese Breakfast fan. Then I'm sure you'll pay the scalp fee for those tickets. I sadly do not have $150 on me. Other than that, love and light to everybody. I cannot wait to get to next episode. We're going to be fully in the Camp Rock Disney Channel Joe Bros era. We're going to try to cover as much of the Disney era as we can next week. So get ready for that.
By the way, the Kylie Minogue drag show at Oasis was so fucking good. You were very much there in spirit. You missed out. It was so fun, honestly. Truly a great night. That. Truly a great night. Also, I forgot to mention this on our Patreon because I talk about OC because I'm watching OC from the beginning. I did not realize I had a total jump scare moment. So obviously, I already have actually seen Alexis Bellino on Fox 5 sometimes when she would do those like weird segments. I'm very sure I saw her at one point. I had no idea that her and her husband founded that Sky Zone trampoline place in San Diego, which I had totally been to when I was in high school. I was like, ah!
Did that shake you?
That shook me to the core. I don't know why they didn't just move to San Diego. They clearly had like lots of work there and their energy was more fitting. But yeah, I was truly shook to the core completely when I saw that Sky Zone. A friend of friends back then day will know that we were at that Sky Zone a few times. I do not know why. I think we would get stoned before we would go in.
That's so middle class core to be at the Sky
Zone. And it was
Zone.
so out of nowhere. It was like far from us because we didn't live in the suburbs. It was like a full 45-minute drive outside the city to get there.
Where was it in the suburbs?
It's like, I want to say it's like Mira Mesa. I don't even know exactly, honestly. It's far out. It was also near one of those like 2010s bougie bowling places that they opened up everywhere. That was like in the same strip mall kind of setting.
I forgot to mention this in the last episode, but last week when I was talking to Matt on the phone, I think I was crying. Maybe it was like one of the times I called you crying.
Probably.
We're like having this deep conversation and we're like getting really into it.
Stop.
Like a good conversation. We were not fighting. It was like I called you crying about something that was happening in my life. And you were like, giving me some advice about how to handle it. And we're having this like very deep conversation. And I'm telling Matt, I love you. I miss you so much. Like you literally don't understand. I miss you like crazy. I can't wait to see you in October. And then I hear, wait, y'all, I shit you not. I hear over the phone, what can I get for you today, sir? This bitch has me on speakerphone crying my eyes out in the McDonald's drive-thru line. And in the middle of me crying, he goes, wait, sorry, let me just order this McDonald's. The line was taking so long, I was like, I figured I could take your call. And the way that I muted you, and then I did my order, because I did the mobile pickup, so it's quick, and then I just took it off, and we were laughing for like 6 minutes. I could not believe. Okay, but for context, you did the classic thing of calling me crying, and then you went, wait, actually, I have to go do something real quick. I'll call you back in 5 seconds. You say that as I'm already walking to my car. The 5 seconds is 15 minutes of me driving and waiting in line. Then you call me back. So I was trying to get that drive-through done before. Because I knew you were going to take a while. But you were called. The line was going so long, and you legitimately called right when I was I said this on the I say this in the Beautiful Women updates that I talk about tomorrow. It'll come out on Thursday from when you're hearing this. But when I was at the mall, I forgot to tell you this. This woman in the Selena Gomez makeup aisle comes up to me in Sephora and is like, hey, diva, can I get anything for you today?
Not diva.
And then when I tell her I'm waiting for someone, she goes, okay, slay. If you need anything, diva, just let me know. Stop. And it was in the Selena Gomez makeup aisle. I just needed to share that on the podcast. That's my last update for the week.
This is my last thing too, but that reminds me, I was like absolutely like gay coded, or like what's it called? Gay carded by this woman at the dog park, where legitimately within like 5 seconds I was talking about our dog. She goes, oh, it's really giving. She just kept saying giving. She was like, because she was walking with like
so she called you a faggot.
Yeah, she was like, hey fag. She had like 8 dogs on these multiple leashes because she's like a dog walker professionally or something.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, do we need to 5150?
No, but she was like, her dogs were chasing Ginger, and of course it's all these dogs chasing one dog, and she was like, it's giving cult, like it's giving like high school, and I was like, yeah. And then later she's like, yeah, it's really giving like, adolescence or something. We're talking about like dog development. She just kept saying it's giving. I was like, man, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here, girl.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.
You've been listening to Eating for Free, a podcast created, co-hosted, written, researched, and produced by myself, Joan Summers, and Matthew Lawson, with original theme music by Sam Huntington of Crooks and Nannies. If you liked what you heard today, you can go to patreon.com/eatingforfree to get access to weekly bonus episodes, as well as access to my other podcast, Beautiful Women Updates, hosted by myself and Alex V. Green. You can also go to eatingforfree.com to get access to the links to our research from today's episode, as well as merch and so much more.